welcome to The Knitted Bean. My name is Echo and I will be your host. The Knitted Bean is a nitty, nerdy, and sometimes sweary podcast with a side order of fandom at the end. I live in Montana with my husband and my two Boston Terriers. And I am recording, it is the 10th today of October, so a good almost a week late. Because I was out of the country on a vacation, the first vacation that I have taken in, I can't even remember how long. And so I took all of your advice and I went ahead and enjoyed my vacation and planned to record when I got back instead. So thank you for pointing out that I should do that instead of worrying about doing the podcast or something like that while I was over in Amsterdam. So while I was gone, fall came to Montana. I left, it was hot and sometimes rainy. I returned and half of my tree leaves were on the ground. So it will be over in 2 weeks as usual for Montana because we really don't have much of a spring or a fall. We really only have 105 summer and -20 winter. And during 105 summer, we have more road construction than you can count on all your fingers and your toes. It's very obnoxious. So it's currently around 60-ish outside, so 15 or 16 Celsius. It's been getting down to the 40s, 50s in the evenings at night, and I am loving it. If I could have 60 all year round, I would. That would be like my perfect temperature. So I hope that you were all well in the extra week that I was gone and that you enjoyed whatever you were doing. I know a bunch of you were starting the Stephen West mystery knit along. I'm not doing that because, for one, I find that I enjoy shawls knitting much more than wearing. And for two, I just can't commit to something that I don't know what I'm making before I make. But it's been a ton of fun watching all of you pick out your colors on Instagram or YouTube or wherever you're posting them at, and seeing your processes there. So I hope that if you're doing that or if you're doing something else that you enjoyed your time. I certainly enjoyed mine. I have Granny asleep on the bed and I kicked Lignut out because the minute I started talking, she started whining. So I have a new mug, again from Crafty Cat Mugs, which I'm in love with. It matches. I got one for me and one for my writing partner, Di, and it just totally encompasses our attitude about many, many things, as well as our slightly dirty minds. And inside of it, I'm drinking some tea that they got me in a giant goodie box that I will not show off because it would take me forever. That came from Germany a few days before I left for the Netherlands, and it was chock full of gummies and candy and licorice and art and other amazing things. So this is a Bunting Grunbach tea, which is, I believe, an East Frisian tea. And it was big, 500 gram pack, which for Americans is like the size of a brick of coffee, basically. And it's so good. If you put like a little bit of sweetener, I prefer honey, and a little bit of milk, I prefer almond milk, and it's amazing. You can oversteep it. I think I forgot about it for like 10 or 15 minutes while I was getting ready for the podcast, and it's still perfect. So that's what I'm drinking, and it's nice and cool, so I can actually get away with drinking tea without getting all hot. So I wanted to, I'm doing it on my phone again because that seems to work way better than the computer. I wanted to do a little bit of admin right at the beginning. Something that I constantly forget to mention is that I do take the time to put links and information below the jump in my about this episode. If you hit the little caret button, it will expand and there will be links to all of the yarn or notions, bags, makers, podcasts. All of that is linked below. Typically I only remember to say that I link below if I talk about a story or something like that for fanfic. But really everything is down there. How to find me, where to find me, all of that. So if you're looking for anything, that's where to look. And if you don't find it there, feel free to message me, either on here on YouTube, you can send me a comment, or on Instagram, you can send me a direct message, and I usually get back to those pretty fast. You can even message me on Ravelry, although I'm not quite as fast about getting back to those. I admit, I only check that every couple of days. Speaking of those things, if you are looking for me on the internet, you can find me on Instagram as The Knitted Bean. You can find me on Instagram as a podcast group, The Knitted Bean Now, which I've linked below, and I do have a couple of posts in there. And you can email me at knittedbean@gmail.com. Where else can you find me? I'm drawing a blank for a minute. I'm not fully recovered from my trip. My brain's still super foggy. Oh, no, just Instagram and Ravelry. I'm losing it. I do have a Ko-Fi that's also linked down there. Anyway, so that's where you can find me if you want to get a hold of me. If you are a maker or a creative and you want to donate prizes for make-alongs or giveaways, etc., feel free to get a hold of me in any of those ways. So, moving on along to the next thing, and speaking of make-alongs, I did a quick short post while I was in Amsterdam that the Head, Shoulders, Fingers, Toes Make-Along 2021 has kicked off. So that is a make-along for anything that goes on your head, your shoulders, your fingers, or your toes. Any accessories, any shawls, mitts, fingers, socks, leg warmers if you want, boot sock toppers, hats, cowls, scarves, anything that goes on those areas. If you can point out that it's an accessory and it goes on that area, it counts. Whips are allowed. Double dipping, triple dipping, quadruple dipping, you can put it in 10 cowls. I don't care. It is a make-along, speaking of cowls and mals, so you can do whatever you want for it. You can crochet, you can knit, you could even sew something, although do keep in mind that the prizes are mostly yarn focused. So, that is going to run through December 14th? Yeah, this October 5th through December 14th. I am going to run it on Ravelry and Instagram this time per people's request. So I will have a prize for each at least, and then depending on what else comes in, there may be more. I'm going to give away prizes for finished objects this time just because it is accessories, so they're small and it's going for quite a while, and I feel like you've got enough time to finish that, especially with whips allowed. So you can post your finished object pictures on Instagram with the tag Head, Shoulders, Fingers, Toes MAL 2021, and that will be your entry on Instagram. Or you can post in the finished object thread on the Knitted Bean podcast forum on Ravelry. There is also a chatter forum on there. And at this time, I'm probably only going to draw a prize from the FO unless I get a whole bunch of prizes in or something like that. And then I might consider doing whips. That is all I have for that. I am doing some socks for that, and I also am hoping to get a litmus cowl out before the end of it because I really want to make my niece a litmus cowl for Christmas / her birthday. Her birthday's already passed. Christmas is coming up. I had checked with her about if she wanted a knitted item and how she felt about like washing and, you know, do you want like acrylic or is superwash okay or whatever. And it's something I really want to make. I really think she would like. So that along with socks, are the two things that I really want to get out for that. I have some Christmas socks that I want to make my husband, and then that. It's kind of a way for me to like motivate myself to get some gift knitting done, because I am like chronically cranking out socks for the Farmer's Daughters Club, and although I give a lot of those away, I'm not giving them away for Christmas. I'm just making them for my friends, and that could be a problem when Christmas rolls around. The other thing that I wanted to go over in admin, and I'm just looking around because I realized that I didn't set it out, is the 100 subscriber giveaway. Thank you guys so much for helping me get to 100 and shoot right over it. Thanks to all of the people who boosted me on Instagram and on YouTube as well. So I am going to do that giveaway, and I wanted to show the prizes. So let me pause for a second and I will go grab them. Okay, I'm back. So everything in this giveaway is either locally bought or locally made to Montana, because I thought that would be fun to do. And it kind of has the theme of like notions and that type of thing. So the giveaway is a notions bag that pretty much describes most of us and our relationship with our yarn budget. It says, I'm stuck somewhere between I need to save money and you only live once. There's a little notions. I want to call it a tin, but it's not a tin because it's ceramic, but it's a little notions tray. This says perfection is boring, because how often do we mess something up? And then I have a little bag that has a few things from my local yarn store in it. Pardon the crinkle. Had it all packed up again. So it's got a stitch fixer, which is a crochet hook on one end and a knitting needle on the other. And then it has some little woodland creatures. Oop. From Katrinkles. That you can use as buttons or decor or little markers for the front or back of your project. Once you've finished it, however you'd like to use them. Everybody needs a little wool wash in their life. Ooh, that is bright and it is blowing out. There we go. So this is the Fig scent of soak. We all need some good stickers. The one on the left says bury me with my yarn. And last but not least, speaking of yarn, some gorgeous mountain colors, hand painted wool and silk DK yarn in the color Periwinkle. It's got a really cool makeup where the silk strand is wound around the wool. So that is the prize package. To enter the 100 subscriber giveaway, you only need to do two things. You need to be subscribed to the channel, obviously, because this is a reward for the people who have subscribed and helped me get here. That was some English. And you need to comment below. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a prompt, so tell me how you got into knitting, and that will count as your entry. If you can't tell me how you got into knitting because the story is this long, or you have been knitting so long you can't remember, that's okay. Give me some other comment. But I'm kind of curious to know, how did you all get into knitting? Because I think it's a really personal and individual thing, and it varies so widely that I'm just super curious to know how we all arrived at the same place. I will draw a winner on my next podcast, which normally would be in 2 weeks, but I want to stay on schedule, so I'm going to keep it in 1 week this time. So be watching for the podcast after this one, and I will announce the winner. I will announce the winner on the next. I cannot talk today. I will announce the winner on the next podcast. So be watching for that one. It will be episode 19, because this is episode 18. And that's when I will announce the winner via a random comment picker on YouTube. And I will get that prize out to whoever wins. It is open internationally, so everybody go ahead and apply. I'm super excited to hear how you got into knitting and to be able to give this stuff away. And I cannot possibly tell you how thankful I am for all the people who shared and boosted me on Instagram and YouTube. I didn't get a chance to thank you all at that moment because I was probably in a different time zone than you and I was on vacation, but I did notice that you were doing it and I totally appreciate it. Okay, so on to finished objects. I got one. I thought I was gonna finish a second pair of socks on the plane, like start and finish, but that did not happen. So I finished my August socks for Farmer's Daughter Sock Squad while I was on the plane. They're a little stretched out because I wore them, but me, whatevs. So these are my own design that I have dubbed the Snug Hug Heel because I did some fancy things with the heel to make it a little bit more and stay up a little bit better, even though they are very short. It does seem to work pretty well. I have written up the pattern. I have had somebody kind of look over it, suggest a few edits to me that I need to go through and make. And then I will probably be looking for test knitters for these. So if you're interested in doing that, watch my Instagram. That's probably where I will post it. It's just a knit purl texture stripe with a short row heel and some tips and tricks at the back of the heel to make it snugger and keep it up. That was in the Cool as a Cucumber Yak Blend for Farmer's Daughter sock, which was the August, as I said. This is my only FO. I did do a poll before I took off to see what socks I should cast on the plane after I finished those. So when I finished those, I cast on the mountain socks, which won. And I really thought that I would get so much further on them than I did, but I had quite a bit of one of those to finish, which I did, and then I started one of these, and I got to Amsterdam, and I actually didn't knit that much in the evening because I was so exhausted. I couldn't concentrate. I would try and knit, and I wasn't doing, it's a very simple texture pattern, you guys, and I was screwing it up over and over. Like I was getting I put a vanilla as the new black heel in it and I was getting the heel right, but I was screwing up the 8 repeat texture pattern by making it a 4 repeat over and over. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong, why it wasn't coming out right. I frogged that same 1 inch 4 times and then I was like, okay, I am gonna set this sock aside until I get back and I get some solid like sleep. Which, I mean, I was sleeping a lot in Amsterdam and taking a nap every day anyway, but it's a lot. So I got back and I slept for like 24 hours straight, slept right through my doctor's appointment, and then slept for another 18 hours the next day, and have still sleeping about 18 hours a day, but I feel a lot better finally. I will talk about it later, but I had some issues and those are clearing up. And I finally was able to knit that inch and make it work. And then it was like, oh, ding, da. And now I like in one night, I have knit like half the socks. So those are in my beautiful sister bag that I got from Farmer's Daughter Fiber as a prize for, I think it was Q2 Sock Squad winning. They are in the September colorway, which I have 3 days to finish in order to enter. So I'm cutting it close because I thought I would get more done over there and I didn't. So these are the mountain socks with, instead of a heel flap and gusset, I've got a vanilla is the new black heel on there. The colorway is blowing out terribly. The Fantastic Mr. Fox. And I do enjoy it a lot. But seriously, guys, this inch right here, 4 times. So if there's anything I can say about Farmer's Daughter Fiber sock, it's resilient. Because you can't tell that it was frogged 4 times. It looks fine. So I'm hoping to finish that sock later today and then cast on the other one and get going. I still haven't decided if I'll use the contrasting brown for the toes or not. I was thinking I would use it for the heels and toes, and then when I cast it on the plane, I totally forgot to use it for, or I was thinking I would use it for the cuffs and toes. I totally forgot to use it for the cuffs, and so now I'm like, I kind of like it as a solid, actually. So that is whip number 1. Whip number 2 is chilling in one of my acquisitions, which is this big ol' knotty knitting sacks with a very Tron computer chip themed outside. And some merman inside. So I'm calling this my gamer bag because it's both Tron and gamerish on the outside, and it has gay mermaids on the inside. It's perfect. This was a custom order that I ordered from Katie, and I could not be more happy with it. This thing was so good. I stuffed my Fast Squirrel bag, my beautiful sister bag, and my Charcy in here and took it all to Amsterdam inside my carry-on. So I had like every knitting project in my carry-on. It worked perfectly. So I have my Charcy, which is currently not attached to any yarn, which is lovely. That is not an accurate color representation. That's a little better. It's coming out much more like wine colored, and in reality it's much more purple. Anyway, so I have both sleeves done, and all I have left is the body. So as soon as I get these socks off the needles, I'm gonna plow through this baby. And I can't wait because it'll be just in time for it to be like freezing outside and for me to enjoy wearing it. Also, the cuffs are like super squishy because they're like doubled over like they are normally. Really long. And then they're folded. And I really like that. It's gonna be nice and warm. on my wrists. So yeah, that's where my jersey is at. It's gorgeous. So the jersey is like a $9.50 Canadian pattern by Camille Decateau, or Decateau, I always mess that up, I apologize, who just needed a test knitter for the 3X, and so I'm test knitting the 3X. It is a sport to heavy fingering weight. I'm using a combination of heavy fingering weight and sport. So my background gray-ish color is a sport, and then all of my purple scraps are all heavier fingering weights. And it's being made in a combination of Farmer's Daughter, Das Mannschaft, Dear Mina, Fiber Co, Fully Spun, bunch of different yarns. It's a great stash buster. And again, it's living in my knotty knitting sack. Okay. Nope, that's it. That is it for what I have worked on in the last 3 weeks, you guys. So I am about to launch into a giant pile of acquisitions, which are mostly from my trip to Amsterdam. And I know some people are not all about the yarn piggery, so if you're not, this is the end of the video for you. I'm sorry, but thank you for being here. And if you enjoy my videos, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I really do love hearing comments from you guys, so feel free to drop me a line, whether it's on Instagram or here on YouTube. And I will see you later. If you are a person who loves yarn piggery like me, let's go for a ride. So I'm going to start with just a few things that I got like before I went to Amsterdam, or that are like regular things that I get in the mail. So, ouch. First one's going to come with a spoiler warning, which is that it is the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Squad regular club for October. So it's the 10th. Most people have got theirs, but postal systems have been really wonky lately, and I know some people are out of the country that get it who won't even be getting it for like another 20 days or more. So if you don't want to see it, look away now, and you can keep listening, and I'll tell you when you can look back. Apparently it's coming undone too. That's surprising. That doesn't usually happen. Okay. So this is it. Also not accurate. It's got to be my lighting today. Like, I closed the window. Let's open it up and see if it helps. Oh yeah, that helped a ton. So that is accurate. I think this is probably going to be some color work. Like, not like full color work, but like a little bit of color work on the toes type socks. Or something a little Christmassy themed. This is the Pintliner. I can never say it right because the L's in the wrong spot. Pintliner, which is the 75-25. Super smooth. Sometimes I feel like it's a little splitty for me, especially if I knit with a very pointy needle, but I've never been truly unhappy with it. One thing that I will say is it broke my, like, all the Highwood is this dye style, all the Yak is this dye style, all the Pintler is this dye style trend. Not that I care, because I still have enough of all my one particular dye style to do the leftover one that I want, but I am seriously looking forward to knitting with this. I cannot wait. So that was one. The second thing that I got is I knew that I would be picking up some yarn in Amsterdam that Aiden, who is the dyer for Undercover Otter, was muling for me from Germany, because the shipping, I really want this yarn. I really want actually a lot of yarn from this lady, but the shipping to the US is pretty costly. It's like tracked type shipping is the only option, which I totally get why. But I also totally don't have the budget for it. But it can get shipped like from Germany to my friend in Germany or to Aiden in Amsterdam for much cheaper. And so I had sent Aiden money and been like, will you order these for me? The color that I wanted and have wanted for a really long time was not available on sock base this time. It was only available on a DK base. And I was okay with that because I was like, well, I'll get it and I will, I'll order a couple of them so that I can use them like in a DK Colorwork sweater. And then I went, after I did that, I went perusing for DK Colorwork sweaters that I might enjoy. And I am really thinking that I'll probably go with For Fox's Sake by Maxim Cyr. There was a specific one that someone had made where the color, like the color play that they did was just like, I was like, ooh, that. And this yarn, although it's not the same as their yarn, it has like the same characteristics. And I was like, huh, okay. So the Mad Toshmobile came to my town for like 2 hours, like a day or two before I was taking off for the Netherlands. And there's a fly in here, sorry. And I was like, I should probably not go because I need to save what itty bitty budget I have for going to the Netherlands. But on the other hand, I really want to go. So I went. And I was like, you may only buy one thing. And so then I was like, I will buy one thing and I will buy it for the For Fox's Sake sweater. Because that sweater is knit out of Mad Tosh DK. So I got a okay orange, rusty orange, pumpkin-y orange. Coming out a little bit more pumpkin there, a little brighter than it really is. It's really more like my lighting today is not great. I didn't record yesterday because it was really rainy and my lighting was terrible. It was more like that. So I got this and I'm super excited to pair it with the other thing, which I will show you. I also got, they were giving out pins, so I got a Mad Toshmobile pin. Oop, oh, listen to me make a big old mess over here. I have all my goodies in a little thing, which I haven't even opened yet. Like it came that close to before I was taking off. So I haven't even opened it and gotten it on a bag yet. So that was my thing. I was pretty excited too because I felt like the yarn was maybe a little cheaper at the Toshmobile than it would be if I just went and bought a skein of Tosh DK. So that was yarn number 2 that I got before I left. Then I had yarn that arrived while I was gone. So one thing was a prize from the Arkansas Yarn Cast. If you do not watch the Arkansas Yarn Cast, you definitely should. It is the gals who own, run, and work at Arkansas Yarn Co. in Arkansas, which I've never been to, but they run a really fun show. And you can order online. So the thing that makes them fun for me is that they all three have like such a distinct personality. and they're slightly different. They all three have favorite colors that are very different. They all three have like favorite coffees that are not the same, so on and so forth. So they do like a monthly-ish drawing for their viewers, just random comments, and I had won that. And the prize was Rossetti Yarns, Cinema, and I think the color of this one is universal, but I could be wrong. Or no, this is a universal yarn. Tricolor. It doesn't really say a color. Anyway, oh, color 301, Spice Market. There we go. This is the coolest yarn. It's a big old chunky single. A literal chunky single. But it has cashmere in it. It is a 75-20. So 70 merino, 5 cashmere, 20 nylon. And I'm thinking that 20% nylon will help that single hold up a little bit better. And that cashmere just makes it so freaking soft. So this is going to be a hat, I bet you. Bet you money, it'll be a hat. Probably for my niece. Because I promised her I'd make her a cool hat, and I'm not happy with the hat that I made her, although she loves it. And then I was like, I will make you a better one, and I haven't gotten around to it. So most likely that will be this. So yeah, go check out the ladies at Arkansas Yarn Co. Watch their Arkansas Yarn Cast, and then also they have a shorter, like 10 to 15 minute max segment on Wednesdays called Wool on Wednesdays, where they highlight some of the yarns or notions or whatever that they've got in their shop at the moment, patterns, things like that. And that is also kind of a fun little treat just to see like what's in the store. Highly recommend. They're fun. They're funny. Enjoy them a lot. The other thing that came while I was gone, another small spoiler warning, is, and it just occurred to me, I forgot to tell you, you could come back from the farmer's daughter thing. Clearly you can. Is Yarnable for October. I already unboxed it. I'm not going to do the unboxing thing this time. This is the bag that came with it, which I freaking love. This is nitroverted. Or nitrovert, I guess. But willing to discuss yarn. And it has a unicorn cat on it. The only thing that could possibly make that better would be if it was like a narwhal. And then it came with a mini puzzle in the tube. The picture is of yarn and pumpkins. Specifically, if you were real quick, of the yarn that came in this month's colorway. It has a pumpkin spice bath bomb, which my husband has already claimed. He was never like much of a bather bath bomb foofy guy until he met me, and we got a big tub, and I was like, bath bombs are amazing. And then he was like, yeah, those are kind of fun. He also is a huge pumpkin spice whore. So he was like, can I? Yes, you can, honey. So that is going to be his. I'm super excited to do things with this bag. I love bags. Like reusable type shopping bags. I have so many. So many. Granny is awake over there. Hopefully she's not making so much noise you can hear her. Although she might be. And then we have the yarn, which is Pumpkin Patch. It is a green, like a mint green, and a light pumpkin. Not a dark pumpkin, definitely a light pumpkin. And I like it because I like greens. I like all greens. Are you kidding me? So this is 85-15 plush sock. Okay, my camera is being petulant. It was like, okay, we have stopped recording because we've hit our time limit. So I started it again. And I sat down and I made it through like 3 sentences and the whole thing turned off. You have a full battery camera. What is your problem? What I was saying for the third time is this is the 85-15 plush sock base, which I'm a big fan of the 85-15s and the 80-20s over the 75-25s. I know a lot of people are very attached to those, but I just like the extra softness that comes with the extra merino. And I don't wear holes in my socks, so I don't find it to be a problem. And I do wear my socks, and I do even wear them around the house without shoes. So, I just don't have problems wearing holes in them. I think different people's feet are different. So, I am excited about this. I don't know if this will be socks or not, probably. But I do like the idea of doing some other things with it too. So that was the Yarnable. So that was all the stuff that I acquired either before I left or it was in the mail or on the way before I left. And now we dig into the stuff that I got in Amsterdam. So we did have a budget, quite a budget, like not a large budget. By quite a budget, I mean like I was on a restricted budget for Amsterdam. Some things I was picking up were things that I had paid for way ahead of time and people were giving to me. And then I bought some cheap yarns too. But that said, not counting notions, this is all the yarn I got. So I think I did pretty good. So, this is the Punk Rock Unicorn or Prue yarn that Aiden muled over for me that I am going to put in a Colorworks sweater, probably the For Fox's Sake. Which means it's probably gonna go with this. It's a 75-25 merino nylon. There's 225 meters in each one. I don't know why I was saying 400. I was thinking 400 grams total, or 400 grams total, 400 meters total, but it's not, it's 450 total. I have been ogling this spilled oil colorway for like, I don't know, at least 4, 5, 6 months. I'm super all about it. I also really want the penny colorway and the Goa colorway. Oh, there's just a lot that I want. So I'm super excited to have these. They are disgustingly smushy and soft, and they are going to go in my sweater quantity pile. Oh. She was kind enough to send along a couple of little treats with it. A sticker. Which says Wolle, which is wool in German. Kommt von haben Wolle. Something something have wool. And a We're All Crazy Here Cheshire Cat iron-on patch. It actually says in the like little smiley face, it says, I'm not crazy. So I have to figure out where I'm going to put these. I have several and I've held off putting them on anything because I didn't feel like I had a good bag to put them on. But now that I'm thinking about it, I have a waterproof bag that goes on the front of my scooter, and I think these would probably be really great on it. So, ding, I just decided where they're going. All right. So I got that. I got We went to a haberdashery, which we don't have haberdasheries in the US. For all you people over there in Europe who can just waltz down your haberdashery and find a really cool zipper or patch or like mending tool or button or string pull, ribbon, so many things. I am very jealous. You don't know how good you have it, because in America, all that stuff is centralized. Okay, you want some sewing stuff like that or some crafting stuff, you go to Joann's or Michael's, and they have some of that stuff. Meaning they have an aisle with buttons, but the buttons are all on cards, and they're pretty generic buttons. They were probably all ordered from one company, and maybe 2 or 3, and they're the same generic buttons that you can get every single Joann's or Michael's in the entire US. There's no like ordering handcrafted buttons from wherever, okay? If you're real fancy, you go to like a knitting store or a sewing store that's like one-off, and you might find like some, say, Katrinkles buttons that are ordered from Katrinkles. That's it though. You're not gonna find like a wall of buttons, okay? I go into a haberdashery over there called like Jan the Great Crafter or something like that. There's a wall of button tubes. We have one place here that has button tubes. They're all ceramic buttons, and they're all like shapes like animals, cars, like they're all kids buttons. You know. So we went into this haberdashery. I was very restrained. I bought some buttons, but only a few. Only a few, you guys. Only a few. I limited myself to green and purple because those are my favorite colors. And then this like pearly one. Because I thought that it would be like a good, goes with everything. But yeah, I got all, oops, that's not working. Kinds of cool buttons. And I tried to get like 6 or 10 of each so that I would have enough to do like a cardigan or whatever when it comes up. So I'm holding on to those. I got other things that we cannot, you literally just cannot go to the store and buy these things in America. You would have to order them online. Probably from someplace like Amsterdam, Amazon, which are like the little lampshade ends that go on like strings for hoodies and stuff. If you knit a hoodie and it's got strings, we just tie them in a knot because we can't get these unless we pretty much order them online. Like most of our knitting stores don't carry that kind of thing. And only a few sewing stores would, and you might find them at Joann's, but they would be very like limited color. Like you might only find black and white. I got some big locking toggles and some little locking toggles. And I got like a couple sets of each so that when the time comes around, I actually have these things to do things with, which was super exciting. I got for my Pranic pullover some faux leather star patches that are already pre-holed for stitches for the elbows, where the reverse stitch fake patches would normally go. So I'm super excited about those. And I got throwing things. start with the red ones here. Some gummy bear needle stoppers. I got 2 different sizes, a small and a large. They are still way larger than what I would normally use. Like, these are probably for like size 15 needles at least. And these are for like size 9, which I occasionally knit with a size 9. So I'll definitely use these eventually. Someday I will knit something large just so that I can use these. They were just too cool and they were super cheap. Then, because steeking is on my list of things to do one of these days, they had a whole selection of bias tapes and ribbons. So I bought a tiny selection. Of bias tapes and ribbons to cover steek stitches when I get around to steeking, which I am just super excited about. So you can definitely buy bias tape here at like Joann's or Michael's, but you're not gonna find cool prints like this. You might find stars, maybe. You're not gonna find like sheep ribbon and stuff like that though that they had. I was like, okay, you must control yourself. You cannot buy every single one. You need to stick with colors that you know that you're probably gonna knit, which are brown, so white and brown, or green, or purple. Like, those are things you're probably gonna knit. Buy some tapes in those selections so that you have yourself covered, and then don't buy the entire tray. Kind of like you can't buy the entire button wall. You want to though. So that was what I got at the haberdashery, and I could have spent so much time in there. I mean, I did spend a lot of time in there. I was there with, so it was me and Aiden went inside, and then we had a couple of friends, my writing partner and another friend, who were sitting outside going, did they get kidnapped? Are they still alive? Because we were in there for like half an hour and they're like, it's just a button shop. What's the big deal? Okay, so then everybody who goes to Amsterdam has to go to Stephen and Penelope, which I knew that I would be doing. I also knew that, again, that I was like going to be on a budget. And so that was going to be my one big purchase. And I needed to be like, you can buy like a t-shirt quantity. Can't get a sweater quantity, you can get a t-shirt quantity. So I got a t-shirt quantity. See if I can turn it all so the labels show. Of things that I can't get easily here in the US. So I have Lola Bean. This is in the Calming colorway on her navy bean base, which is 100% merino. It's 400 meters or yards for 100 grams. It's very bright aqua blue. I can buy Lola Bean here for sure, yes, but like I would have to really time it to hit her updates, and it would be a lot of work. Same thing with La Bien-Aimée. Like, I could order it from here, but it will be a lot of work. I would have to time it. This looks gray, and it is a gray base, but it has these teal and purple speckles in it. That are just gonna match that perfectly. So, this is the Super Sock, which is a 75-25. And I'm probably gonna 110% butcher the color name. because I don't know how to pronounce that word. It's La Grande Nuage. Nuage. I'm so sorry to all the French speakers out there. It's definitely not my proficiency. So I have these 3, and they are going to be a t-shirt of some variety. I am thinking it's not the Tanga, but it's another one by the same lady, and it's got main color and then an off color lace, and then it uses like, I don't know, maybe 50 yards of a dark color to offset the lace. So I'm thinking that that is probably going to be what this is. I also got 2 other things while I was at Stephen and Penelope's. So I really like labels that go in my clothing, okay? So I got, this took me forever to knit. And on the back side it says, and wash, lay flat, dry. Did I mention this took forever? I've actually been looking for a label that said hand wash, lay flat, dry for a really long time. So I was like, I have to get these. And then I was so excited. I got flocks. These are Floops by Flocks, and they are crochet / knitting notions that are, they're cable needles / stitch holders. So, sorry for the crinkle. They're a stiff in the middle so that you can shape it with just 2 itty bitty, like probably size 1, maybe size 2 needle tips on the end. And they're really hard to get your hands on anywhere, but especially in the US, because in the US you typically would have to pay some shipping to get them. And so I was super excited. They had a big bowl of them with a bunch of different colors, and I managed to get one that had a black and white and a pink and a teal. So I am thrilled to have been able to snag those. So that was my Stephen and Penelope. Then the place that we stayed was just across the canal from the Off Stop, which is the Off Stop, I should say. Should pronounce it correctly. Which is another yarn shop. It's more a commercial yarn shop. Whereas Stephen and Penelope is more indie dyer, hand-dyed yarn shop. And I did go over there and get some things. The lady was super duper nice, despite maybe not speaking like a whole lot of English. And I grabbed a couple Zauber balls, which were definitely on my list to get while I was over there because I like them a lot. So I got a black, white, gray, and a blue, gray, purple. The reason that I wanted to get them while I was over there is a Zauber ball in the US runs close to $30. And a Zauber ball in the EU, so Germany, Netherlands, etc., they're from Germany, they're made in Germany, runs about 12, 13 pounds, not pounds, euros. So with a conversion, that's like $15, $16. They are like half the price over there. So this would be $60 worth of yarn here, and over there it was not even quite 30. Like, I actually think it was more like 25 because these were like $11.95 each. So I was super excited to have those, to add those to my Zauber ball collection. I have like 5 of them now. 2 of them are smaller. Those are all crazy balls. 2 of them are not crazy balls though. And then I spied this stuff in the back. This is a commercial yarn. Was very cheap. I don't remember how much, but it was very cheap. Like maybe 5 or 6 euros a ball. They are 50-gram balls, but they're 100% lamb's wool. It's J.C. Rennie Co., which is milled in Scotland out of Scottish wool. And they're like a heather. They're all very heathered, which is going to be, oh, there we go. I was going to say it was going to be hard to show, but I guess it's not. So I really like these. It's called J.C. Rennie Super Soft, and it is super soft. It's not super wash. It is not merino, but it is super freaking soft. Not quite as soft as merino, but definitely up there with like Corriedale or Polworth. So I really like these, and I am that I did not buy more, because I totally should have bought one more in each color so that I could have made like a garment. Well, I bought this amount thinking that I can make a shawl, which I can, and I will. But again, I'm always iffy on actually wearing the shawls. So I'm like, oh, darn it, why did I do that? They are 270 yards each because they're 4-ply, which is in American terms fingering. So we're looking at like 700 and some yards. So if I had bought one more of each, that would have like definitely been enough for a sweater. But they just look like they will make some amazing color work, and I don't enjoy color work in the flat, so I'm thinking maybe like slip stitch color work for a shawl. So maybe something like a shifty cowl or something along those lines. Anyway, definitely in love with those. Also, they had so many colors. I mean, the Off Shop probably carried the full range, and there are like a wall full of colors. Like this is probably only half of the purple colors that they had, which was exciting. So the last but not least, by far, yarn that I have takes up the rest of the bag, because it is 5 skeins of very cheap but not commercial yarn. This is, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you with yarn, Granny. I got the eyeball. This is Collection der Verfalt. I probably totally screwed up my German there, because I am really, it's Vilfalt. Vilfalt. Yeah, okay. Collection der Vilfalt. That's a hard word to say. Anyway, it's Collection of Diversity yarn from Germany. They ship within Germany for 6 euros. And it is like a, it's like a rare breed society kind of thing, where they are working to save the more rare breeds in Germany, of the farm breeds. And so they have different wools, would be called strickewool, so knitting wools or yarn. They have sweaters made out of it that you can buy a whole fleece, you can buy a sheepskin. There's like a whole wide variety of products that you can buy from these different sheep, and you can pick the different breed that you want to purchase from, whether you're talking like a stone sheep, or in this case, so this is Coburg fox sheep. or fox face sheep, which is known to be pretty soft. Now, when I say pretty soft, this is in no way superwash or anything like that. It's definitely rustic. So it's not itchy at all, but it's definitely rustic. I'm going to make a sweater out of it, and I think there are probably a lot of people who would not want to wear it right next to their skin. They would probably want to make like a cardigan or something out of it instead, which I might make a cardigan out of it, but I'm going to make a garment out of it. So this is just undyed, plain beige. It still smells very sheepy, and Aiden looked at it and was like, yeah, I'd probably give that a good solid like wash with some industrial yarn cleaner first. So I'm going to order some industrial yarn cleaner, wash it well, and then I'm going to try to dye it myself. We'll see how that goes, because I don't dye yarn. I'm not a yarn dyer. But I do know yarn dyers who will like coax me through the process in my bag. So I've looked online and found some places that will sell like small portions of natural dyes. I think I'm probably going to go the natural dye route just because it sounds fun for this project. And I intentionally ordered enough for a garment that I could then dye myself and make myself and have it be a nice reminder of my trip to Amsterdam. So I did not buy this yarn in Amsterdam. This is yarn that I actually paid for earlier, and my writing partner Di ordered for me because, as I said, they ship within Germany, and they ordered and brought to me in Amsterdam. It is extremely cheap, like 4 or 5 euros a skein, cheap. So whole sweater under 40 euros. But the catch is that they really only ship within Germany. They do have a thing on their website that says we ship internationally, and then it says please call us to ask about rates. So you're gonna have to make an international phone call in order to find out what the shipping rate for an international shipping was, which I just was not. I was just like, whatever, I'll just have them bring it to me. So that's gonna be my like Amsterdam sweater. It's sport weight. I have a couple of ideas for sport weight sweater kind of like lined up that I might do with it. And as for dyeing it, I think I might actually like put it off, wait until spring or summer next year. That way I can dry the yarn outside when it's really hot, and it'll dry in like a day, and that kind of thing. Plus I have lots of sweaters to knit in the meantime, so there's no worry there. And the last thing I got, like I said, is I love bags. So I got a bag with a map of Amsterdam on it. And on the back, it says things you want, which is basically what the store's name was. So that is all I have for you folks. A little bit of life. So I did go to Amsterdam. I did take my mobility scooter and my cane and my CPAP and my specialty cushion and all these other things and all of my bazillion medications. And I felt like I was taking a pharmacy in a hospital with me. And it's the first time in about 3 years that I've traveled like that. And last time I had help, my husband took me, we used a wheelchair, and he pushed me, and I hated it. I really hated it. I do not like being put in a wheelchair. I don't like having somebody else be in control of where I go, because it can be very dehumanizing if you've never had that experience. You get the chance, I recommend that you take a seat and let somebody push you around for a little bit, just to kind of give you a little insight into how other people might feel. It will change how you treat them, I think. The other thing that I really hate about being in a wheelchair is that you are so much lower than everybody else. They tend to just talk over you. They would rather talk to the person standing next to you about you than talk to you, because you're like the height of a child, and so they start to very much treat you as a child. So the thing with the mobility scooter is I do sit a bit higher up. People still do that once in a while, but they do tend to talk to me more. I'm still in control of where I am going. So if I want to turn around and look at something, I can do it on my own. I don't have to ask somebody to do it for me. So that was very nice to have that. On the other hand, traveling alone while disabled, it's kind of a crapshoot. You know, I flew United, and I had some airports and some attendants who were super helpful and super great. And, you know, a huge shout out to those who were like, oh, let's make sure you use your scooter all the way up to the ramp, and let's make sure that you have an aisle seat so that when you do use your cane to get down there, you're not tripping over people and things and armrests and falling and hitting your head. And then I had people who were like, yeah, I can't help you. You know, other people on the flight have paid for their seats. Like, I didn't pay for mine, okay? I paid for mine, and I paid for it like a year or more ago. So, whatever. Also, like, on the way over, my flight got rerouted because one of my planes got delayed by 4 hours, which meant that I would miss my connecting flight to Amsterdam. So they rerouted me through Frankfurt on another airline. They neglected to tell the other airline that I use a disability scooter. So that airline moved their gate for various reasons. The gate that they moved it to was not disability accessible. So it had stairs going down, then stairs going up. Then you had to walk across the tarmac to get to the plane, so on and so forth. So then they were upset because they didn't know that they had to arrange for a way to get me up into and out of the plane, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know, all of that probably could have been alleviated by United simply telling the other airline, also, person uses a mobility scooter. They would have had 8 hours to plan that to make sure that the gate that they used was accessible, but no. On the other hand, once I got on the plane, those flight attendants were super gracious and very helpful. And, you know, are you doing okay? Do you need water? Yada, yada. You know, is there anything we can do for you? We'll make sure that when you get to the next airport, you have somebody to help you. And they did. Same thing coming back. It was 50-50. Some airports, they had me in the system as needing assistance with mobility and luggage, and other airports they didn't and didn't have a clue and were like, oh, we didn't know you're bringing a scooter on here. You know, normally we require 2 days notice for, like, well, you've had way more than 2 days notice. Well, nobody told us. So it's really 50-50. And I had posted on my Instagram about that, and United immediately commented and was like, oh, we're so sorry to hear that, you know, please send us a DM and let us know what happened, which I did, and I never heard another word from them. They never responded to the DM. So I don't know, I can't say that I would fly United while disabled again. I'm not sure that any other airline is any better though. All of that to say, when I got to Amsterdam, everything was great. I know that Europe can be less accessible because the buildings are just older. They're not built that way. And I had no problem getting a taxi that could take my scooter. I had already like ensured that the apartment that we rented was ground level, so that I was not having to go up, 14 flights of stairs, which is a common thing in Amsterdam. Maybe not 14, but 4 is very common. And so that was no problem. Getting around on the scooter was great. I could keep up with everybody, and I didn't feel like I was the one person who was dragging the group down. But even with a mobility scooter, like, I was still severely limited. I really can only be up for 3 or 4 hours a day, period, even with the mobility scooter. So I would hit that 3 or 4 hour mark and it would be like, okay, time to go back to the apartment and then take a nap for several hours. And we're not doing anything else for the rest of the evening. We're just going to sit and watch movies. Luckily, the people who were with me totally get that, and, you know, suffer from their own various, like, we would call it spoony things, you know, where they just don't have the energy or the social spoons to go do that either. And so it worked out perfect because we could do that. The other problem that I had was that my legs swelled up really bad on the plane. I do have dependent edema to start with, and it got so much worse. So much worse. And even when I came back, it was bad, and I could not get it to go down. So I had to go to the doctor to get some medication to help with that. It is now just finally going down. But I came back, I slept for 24 hours. I got up for a while. I slept for another 18 hours. I got meds to try and offload some of the fluid. And overall, I'm really glad I went. It definitely was a huge stress on my body, and I can tell. But it also was worth it to me. I feel like people think that if you are disabled, you are going to just have to sit on a couch for the rest of your life, and I don't want that to be the case for me. So, was it easy to go? No. Was it fun? Yes. Was it worth it? Yes. Was it the most healthy thing I could have chosen to do? Probably not. And I often give my doctor a heart attack by being like, I would like to do it. And she's like, why can't you just stop? Why can't you just stop working? Why can't you just stop doing these things? Okay, well, I stopped working for you, but I'm not just gonna sit on a couch. So I'm gonna do it anyway. So that's my story about traveling while disabled. It's gonna go better if you take somebody with you. That's all there is to it. Super frustrating to know that. Super frustrating. But that is just how it is, I think. So, other than that, it was so totally worth it, you guys, and I'm so glad that I went. If you are not into romance or sex or romance novels, my discussion of fanfic is not going to be for you today, and you can tap out right now. If you are, you're welcome to hang around. Otherwise, I will see you in a week with the winner of the 100 subscriber drawing. Okay, so for those of you who stuck around, it is October, which means it is Kinktober, which means it is like my favorite month of the year, simply because there is such a glut of fic. It's not just Kinktober. It's Wumptober, Flufftober, Fictober, Inktober, like every writing event you could think of lands and drawing lands on October. Yes, there are other writing events during other months like Mermay and things like that, but it seems like there's like 8 or 9 that land on October, and so there's this huge glut of stories. I don't particularly have any one to recommend this time. I just wanted to gush about how much more active people are during this month, both in talking about their writing and in actually writing and posting their fics. It's really exciting to have all that extra stuff to read and to hear people talking so relaxed and chill about what they're writing. The other reason that I particularly like Kinktober is I am a big proponent of like, I don't know, relaxing sexual norms, and by that I don't mean like being like super sexual in public or anything like that. I mean like within the right places and in the right spaces, you should be able to do whatever you want that is legal and non-harmful and consensual, and not have to like have a bunch of shame associated with that. I'm a big proponent of like, you know, having sex ed in schools in ways that like encourages kids that this is a normal and healthy activity that adults do. And things like that. I'm not a fan of like the, this is a bad, shameful thing and you should never do it, and it, you know, you're a bad person if you want to have sex. And so I like the whole ethos and the whole like mood, easy, chill, of Kinktober, where people are just like, let's just put our everything out there, and I feel like everybody is so much more relaxed about it. So if you are into that kind of thing, it's a great time to go on an archive of our own, or some people like to read on fanfiction.net. It's really not my thing for various reasons. But if it's yours, that's great. This is a great time of year to go on there and just like check out what fandoms you like and see what new material is popping up for them. So I would highly recommend that you do that if that is your thing. If it's not and you hung around for this anyway, congratulations! You maybe learned something. It might have been something you didn't want to learn, but you learned it anyway. That's it. I will talk to you in a week. I hope in the meantime that you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, or midnight, depending on what time zone you're in. Please make sure that you are subscribed and that you leave a comment below letting me know how you got into knitting or anything else you want to tell me in order to enter the 100 subscriber giveaway, and I will draw for that next week.